Paramount sues Warner. Leadership changes for Star Wars. And Sebastian Stan is Two-Face. All this and so much more in this episode of Beyond the Screen. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Beyond the Screen. I'm your host, Ryan, and with me, as always, is the man trying to interrupt my lead-in, Jake Holtzclaw, sitting over there.
I was counting you in.
Yeah, that's what I would say, too. But no, he tried to distract me, ladies and gentlemen. But we have such a good show for you today. We come out of, our Pluribus review, and now, of course, we have probably the most loaded our show has been in at least a month and a half. We've had so much stuff to talk to you guys about. Specifically, breaking news as of today, maybe 6-7 hours ago, Paramount launches a lawsuit against Warner Brothers Discovery. They just cannot let it go. They will not let it go. And it's about to get spicy between Netflix and Paramount. It's interesting Paramount didn't sue Netflix. No, they're suing Warner Brothers. So all this according to Variety, and then we had Reuters, and The Hollywood Reporter are our sources for these. They will be linked in our source document that we provide in the description of all of our episodes. So Paramount continues with this lawsuit. They continue to argue that it's all cash offer, which is worth $30 a share. Now, a reminder, Netflix's was 28 or 23, I think. 22,
yeah,
yes.
$40.
Yes, 2022. So their $30 a share is still, what was it? What'd you say?
I said, dude, I got $40.
Oh, he got $40. He's gonna put it down an offer for one share. But no.
I'll sue Paramount
for the $40 for a single share. No, Paramount continues to argue that its all cash offer worth $30 a share is still superior than Netflix's. So last week, Warner Brothers Discovery rejected Paramount's latest attempt to buy the company, citing in a letter to its own shareholders, quote, Paramount's offer hinges on an extraordinary amount of debt financing that heightens the risk of cloning, according to Reuters. Further explaining that, despite promises from Oracle founder Larry Ellison regarding the financing, Warner Brothers Discovery's questions were still not answered to their liking. So they've had a lot of back and forth, and to the discretion of everything Paramount, Zaslav and Warner Brothers say, nah, we're not taking that. We don't have enough answers, and you're leaning too far into debt financing instead of actually doing whatever. So in a letter to Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders earlier today, Paramount owner David Ellison wrote that there is a, quote, customary financial disclosure a board is supposed to provide shareholders when making an investment recommendation. Reuters. So when you have owners who are taking in these offers, they have a customary financial disclosure that they should be giving to their board in making these decisions, which Ellison is arguing Zaslav and the brass are not giving their own shareholders. Further arguing, again, that brass is failing in that endeavor. Hence the lawsuit, as Ellison is attempting to get Warner to give more information as to why the company continues to lean Netflix and what risks, quote unquote, risks Paramount enables. What happens next? Ellison openly admits in his own letter to Warner Brothers Discovery's own shareholders that he isn't sure when, but that he thinks a Paramount takeover will come down to a shareholder meeting and vote. Stating, quote, Paramount will nominate a slate of directors ahead of Warner Brothers Discovery's 2026 annual meeting, who, in accordance with their own fiduciary duties, will exercise Warner Brothers Discovery's right under the Netflix agreement to engage on Paramount's offer and enter into a transaction with Paramount. Again, that's a lot of big words, but essentially what he's saying is, we're hoping to nominate our own slate of directors to your own vote that will enable you to vote for Paramount to these shareholders, is what he's saying. So essentially, from what I can ascertain as a non-professional in the business world and someone who does not come from a lot of money, it feels like they're trying to do everything they can to rig the game, right? Continuing in this memo, continuing in this memo to shareholders of Warner Brothers, Ellison says, quote, Paramount will propose an amendment to Warner Brothers Discovery's bylaws to require Warner Brothers Discovery shareholder approval for any separation of global networks. That's important. We'll come back to it in a second. If Warner Brothers Discovery calls a special meeting ahead of its annual meeting to vote on the Netflix agreement, Paramount will solicit proxies against such approval. These actions, coupled with our tender offer, ensure that you can get the final decision on which offer is better for you. So essentially what they're saying is if if Warner Brothers tries to circumvent the whole annual meeting that Paramount's trying to rig, they will set certain proxies, quote unquote proxies, to ensure that that special vote can't happen. And then they put a bow on top of this whole thing to say, but it's for you, shareholders. You get to make the decision. But it seems that regardless of what decision they make, Paramount's going to throw something in the way. Warner, in response, has called the lawsuit meritless and a distraction, claiming that Paramount has, quote, yet to raise the price, end quote, on its offer for the entire company. So going back to the quote from the memo that Ellison gave the Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders, they want to amend the bylaws of Warner Brothers Discovery to say that they cannot separate the global networks, so CNN, so Bleacher Report, so all that Turner Sports, TNT, from Warner Brothers without shareholder approval. So it's getting crazy because now what's happening is instead of it just instead of it just Ellison saying, hey, we're trying to postpone and throw a wrench in the Netflix acquisition. Reminder, in 3 months, there's supposed to be a planned separation of Warner Brothers and Discovery. He's also trying to push that back from what it seems. So even if they decide to go Netflix, there's still a chance he can say, actually, you can't even separate because the shareholders voted no. Which is odd. Which is like every wrench you could throw, he's trying to throw in there. So, Jake, any thoughts over the craziness of a lawsuit towards Warner Brothers Discovery from Paramount and the Ellisons?
It's like you're trying to sell something on Marketplace, and then your dad, right? Or not even, I don't even think it should be like your brother. Your brother's like, I'll pay that. I'll pay you $8,000 for your crap box, And then there's another guy, not even family, dude. Not even family. He's like, I'll pay you $9,000. Oh, right. You're gonna go with your brother? I don't know what he paid, but I'm gonna sue him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sue you. I'm gonna sue you for going with your brother. Even though they're not related. I think brother's the wrong term too. But your buddy will pay you full price, whatever you were asking, and somebody starts to sue you because they paid more. And they don't even know if they're paying more. They got no idea. I don't know. I think at the end of the day, I am interested in knowing what Netflix is bidding. Because if it is lower, that's so funny.
Yeah.
That's so funny that they'd go with Netflix still.
That's what it's been. So Netflix is like $83 billion. According to Paramount's own released data, it's $106 billion that they're trying to buy Warner Brothers for. But the problem is Zaslav and Warner Brothers.
There's assets in there.
Yeah,
but there's other assets, right?
There's got to be something. So it's a $30 a share, like straight cash offer, whereas Netflix with their I think it was $28 a share. There's a certain split where they're paying out of pocket like $22 or $23, and the rest of it is going to stock in Netflix, like the combined company.
Okay.
What's interesting here is Zaslav and the brass at Warner Brothers saying that Paramount has actually yet to raise the price. And then on top of their already claimed, like their own letter to shareholders late last week, that was like, hey, they're trying to hedge their bets on financing, like debt financing, and we'll feel like it'll fold. We don't trust it. So I just wonder behind the scenes what's actually happening. Because of course Paramount's going to say, oh yeah, it's the perfect offer. But according to Warner Brothers, it's not, right? Like there's something in the weeds there. I'm just very curious as to what the actual details are, because I feel like at that point, if you're a shareholder, which you could say Ellison is trying to argue that they're actually not getting the say. But if you're a shareholder and you think there's more money, you're going to go with the more money. So what are they getting told from the brass, or what information does the public not know about this deal that makes it so enticing to go with Netflix? You know what I mean?
I think it's unlimited or a free Netflix subscriptions for life for you and your entire family.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I think that's the bribe. It's like, yeah, we're paying you less, but for your family's lifetime, this is infinite Netflix subscription for hundreds of what are they called? Like
You talking
different
about
your
pieces
son.
of content? Oh yeah, or
No, son,
profiles,
or daughter. No, like
lineage.
lineage, like your infinite lineage,
Yeah.
like, and it branches. And it's like that's the level of infinite Netflix subscriptions for your entire lineage.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean
Down.
that would be sick. That'd be sick.
I doubt it. I doubt
I
it. But
I just want to believe that in a world where greed rules above all else, if the brass at Warner, who like the thing is they have to
he's
work.
betting on the negative, right? You're betting
Well,
on
yeah. Well, the thing is, think about it. If you're the brass at Warner, the entire reason you have a job and the entire reason that you're going forward with the sale is because the shareholders are earning more money. Like that's the joke is like, why are you in business? Why are you doing your job? It's to make the shareholders more money. If the
That's why I get up
shareholders
every morning.
if the shareholders had any sort of confidence that Paramount had a better deal and they'd get more money and it was solidified for a fact they'd get more money, this wouldn't be a problem. So I'm just curious, what isn't solidified? What's not concrete? What's so besides the fact that they don't really know some of the financing, despite the fact that the debt, right? I'm just curious where that comes in. I also had read somewhere that they were worried about the Saudi Arabia money that was coming in for this deal as well, which is a whole other can of worms. I just think it's really interesting that the Ellisons are doing everything they can to postpone and postpone and postpone. You wonder when the government's going to get involved because that happens later this year. But by that point,
Yeah.
because of antitrust laws, right? Like that's the whole thing. Everyone's screaming, regardless of what political like affiliation you align with, antitrust laws are a thing for a reason, and this is very trust, right? Like this seems like there's a reason for this to be broken, regardless of if you're for Paramount or not, right? That would happen after after Warner Brothers and Discovery Global split, right? So, and again, what does the Ellisons want? When Paramount they want all of Warner as is. So it really feels like this whole thing is to say, hey, if you try to sneak a vote to approve the Netflix buy, we're going to put a proxy in to block it. If you go to your annual whatever, we're going to nominate these directors who will help the shareholders actually get their vote, whatever that means. And when we get that, we're also going to propose a bylaw change that says that they can't split the company unless shareholders approve. And it seems to be if shareholders approve, Paramount's just going to say, well, wait a minute, and try to block it again. That's what it feels like to me. It's like they're doing everything they can. And this is going to spoil our real or fake for later. But I'm going to say one thing. She's just not into you, bro. She's just not into you. Let it die. Move on.
She will be.
Yeah. Yeah. What was it you said? I made that joke before we started recording, and Jake made a really good comment. Netflix walks up and puts his arm around all the Warner Brothers, and he's like, he bothering you? That's exactly what's happening.
This guy
right
bothering you?
This guy bothering. Do you need me to escort him out, babe? Like, bro, you're killing the vibe. That's like what's happening.
His ass.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, we're not, as I said at the top, we're not any sort of like business professionals in this sense. We're not educated in that sense. But black and white, we've been following this for a really long time and trying to deduce it as best we can. It just seems like, in layman's terms, David Ellison and Paramount are trying to throw as many wrenches into the whole situation with Netflix, which you kind of knew that was going to happen. But either way, any final thoughts on our breaking news with Paramount launching a lawsuit against Warner Brothers Discovery?
Tracks.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think at this point they're going to throw all the, I'm going to use the word shiesty. They're going to throw all the shiesty tactics, and see what sticks at the wall. And so, as much as I do, all the different things that a business or like these bigger corporations do to get around either taxes or the law or court cases, or, there are the same level of tactics and knowledge in acquisitions as well. And so they're going to throw the book at Warner Bros. And Netflix to make this go through,
Yeah. I guess for me, like I felt the same way for Netflix when Netflix was like the proven partner for Warner Brothers, but I feel this even worse now. Their greed sickens me. Like, David Ellison, you just bought Paramount. You haven't even been approved as the owner of Paramount for 6 months. And how long have we been talking about this with Paramount and Warner Brothers? For almost the same length of time. The thing is, another thing that kind of like just crossed my mind. If Paramount were to also, like, let's say the roles were reversed and Paramount was the one who won. Number one, Netflix wouldn't even be a thing anymore. They like they'd be a thing, but they wouldn't be in this conversation, right? Like Netflix would have said, well, we failed. Would we not be having the same conversations about antitrust?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
in theory, I know the Ellisons are friendly with the president, but
I was going to say, would you get me?
I know what you mean. I know
Mr.
what you're
President,
saying.
Mr. President.
I guess the thing is that like the Ellisons want to cry antitrust and they want to say that we're better for cinema. But then again, what was the joke we made? It's like, are we going to sacrifice CNN and one of the biggest news stations in the world or in the nation, I should say, for the betterment of cinema? And mind you, if you look it up, there are reports from like Variety and Deadline that say the Ellisons promised to old Donnie that they would make changes to CNN because I don't like CNN. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of bad either way, but it's very fascinating.
I don't watch any news outlet, so to me it sounded like the betterment of film or that to me, like, yeah, like I'm not watching that. That's not where I get my news from. Well, there are better places to get news.
I agree.
But,
you wouldn't catch me dead watching CNN, but the thing is, I also believe that there should be room and space for people to watch the news they want to watch, and millions of people watch CNN. I think taking one of the biggest news outlets in the nation and changing it depending on who's in office, I think that's a problem because then it's not news. Now you could make the argument a lot of the
That's not what you said. That's not what you said, Ryan. You said make cinema better or not worse.
For the betterment of cinema. I didn't say it would make it better.
For the betterment of cinema or to lose one of the biggest news outlets. And I said,
I'd much rather there be a news station that I don't believe with that holds true to its principles and is independent than the opposite. I think that's just my view. I think that cinema will survive. We can have a whole conversation about the box office. So Netflix is trying to limit Warner Brothers.
Yeah, it'll survive for 17 days.
17 days. I think it'll be fine. I think Apple will step up. I think Amazon will step up because there will be a need, and they'll meet the demand and they'll make a lot of money. And I think it'll be fine. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna do a lightning round. What are we drinking? We're gonna do it quick because we're 17 minutes in. Emily, join us from the back. Let us know what you're partaking in on this lovely evening.
Ooh.
Lightning round.
Ice matcha with half and half, and Jake, you go.
Ice matcha with half and half.
Orange juice.
Ryan, your turn.
Cat mug black tea. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what are we drinking? All right. With that has been your micro segment, the lightning round. We're going to go into our first segment 18 minutes in. I think that's a record, ladies and gentlemen.
I said he was going to do it in 20.
Our first segment, you're almost right. We always go over the latest in the box office news. We give you your stories of the weekend. But first, we go over our predictions from last week. Every week, we look at what's coming out in the next week, and we say what we think. We're not looking at outlets. We're not looking at analytics. We're not looking at projections for the next week. We're just taking a guess. We are gambling, ladies and gentlemen, as Jake lovingly says every time I explain it. So let's see the results from last week. Let's see how we did actually first. Let's see what we predicted. I predicted Avatar Fire and Ash, Zootopia 2, Primate at 3, The House made it 4, and Soul made it 5. Ugh. And then Jake had Avatar Fire and Ash at 1, Greenland 2 Migration at 2, Primate at 3, Zootopia 2 at 4, and The Housemaid at 5. How we did was not good, but Jake did better than me.
Woo!
I got 1 out of 5 correct, and that was Avatar Fire and Ash. Yeah, it wasn't great. Jake got 2 of 5 correct. He got Avatar Fire and Ash at 1 and Zootopia 2 at number 4. And now we compare that to Jimmy, our lovely local chatbot, who we ask every single week what he thinks the next week's box office will be. He predicted Avatar Fire and Ash at 1, Greenland 2 at 2, Zootopia 2 at 3, Primate at 4, and The Housemaid at 5. And he didn't do much better than I did. In fact, we finished the exact same. We got 1 out of 5 with Avatar being the only one we got correct, which is a fantastic change up because last week Last week, Jimmy got all 5 correct, and we were kind of scared. But we're back to normal. We're back to normal, and Jimmy is back down to 1 out of 5 or 0 out of 5. He's not gotten 2 or 3 out of 5. He's either gotten 1, none, or 5. That's all he's done thus far in the month and a half we've been using Jimmy.
Hey,
so
when he hit.
he's either really accurate or he hit nothing. So anyway, we got really scared last week. For
That's
those
how
who didn't watch,
gambling works, though. Like that's the bet, right? You either gonna hit big or onesie twosies kind of deal.
What's that? What's that image that floats around?
The
online?
diamond.
It's
The diamond.
guy, yeah, the
meme,
pickaxe.
man.
Yes, you're one way, man. You just gotta keep going. You're right
Don't
there.
give up. Don't give
Don't
up.
ever give up. That and
99% of all gamblers give up before they hit it big.
99%, man. That's crazy. Look at the numbers, the hot numbers in black and white, right there. Anyway, we'll go ahead and get into our top 5. They list as follows: Avatar: Fire and Ash finished first. Primate shocks everybody and finishes second. The Housemaid finishes third. Zootopia 2 finishes fourth. And Greenland 2 Migration finishes fifth. Rounding out our top 5, we're going to go back to the top, and we're going to give you all the numbers, break them down 1 through 5 as to how they performed specifically throughout this past weekend, Friday through Sunday. The stories of the weekend include, again, Fire and Ash reigning supreme for the 4th straight weekend, and Primate wins a tightly contested race with The Housemaid and Zootopia 2. For a while, it seemed like it was going to be neck and neck all 3. Zootopia 2 kind of fell off on Sunday, and it was a Housemaid, Primate, back and forth all weekend long. Thus, Primate wins out. But first, we're going to start at the top with Avatar: Fire and Ash. In its 4th weekend in theaters, it earned $21.3 million domestically, pushing its worldwide earnings to $1.23 billion. Down 49% from last week's sales, which I'm pretty sure was the biggest drop it had since it's been in theaters from week to week. The epic is still on track for its projected $1.5 to $1.7 billion mark. James Cameron's 3rd installment becomes the first film to hold on to the #1 spot in the box office for 4 consecutive weeks since Barbie in 2023, which seems like that's not right, but apparently it is. Barbie's the last one to hold it for a month, and now we have Avatar: Fire and Ash this year, 2025.
Doesn't seem right that Barbie was 3 years ago either.
No, you're right. Barbenheimer is slowly becoming a memory and less of an actual fad we live through. Anywho, finishing second is Primate in its debut, earning $11.3 million domestically and $13.4 million globally, all done on a $21 million budget. The Daily Newsletter points out to a strong word of mouth and marketing as why the film has had a fast start, yet continues to suggest that because the film only had a B- cinema score, which is about your average cinema score for most horror films, it may indicate that it has a quick decline in the weeks to come. From what I've seen, a lot of people seem to like it. I have not seen it quite yet, but it's just kind of another like thriller, psychological bloodbath kind of thing with a rabies-infested monkey. Anywho,
that's completely unrealistic in his way of harming
the way he can pick people up out of the water like nothing, says Jake. Finishing third is The Housemaid. Listen to this. Primate finished second with 11.3. The Housemaid finishes third with 11.2.
Sorry, those were updated.
What did
I
they
was
update
waiting
to?
on all of them. So it's Primate at 11.15.
Okay.
And the Housemaid at 10.9. So
Same-
technically, it's still
Yeah.
within 200,000.
So you said 10.9?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Zootopia 2 is actually still counting at 10.1.
Okay, fantastic. So Primate 11.1, The Housemaid 10.9, the same thing. They were still, that's how neck and neck they were for second place behind Avatar: Fire and Ash. Only down 26% from last week, the Sydney Sweeney starring thriller continues to perform at high marks. So much so that, according to Yahoo Entertainment and a few other outlets, a sequel is already in the works for the Frida McFadden novel of the same name. Finishing fourth is Zootopia 2 at $10.1 million in its 7th weekend in theaters. The film has earned $1.65 billion globally, staying #1 in the box office in China and Japan. This animated film is the highest grossing Walt Disney Animation, I should say, film of all time.
I've seen clips. It's got some good jokes or like good scenarios in it.
People,
I think I sent one to Ryan. Like it was he was talking I think Nick Wilde, which is the Fox, the what is it, co-protagonist or talking about a traumatic childhood, which is why he does the things he does. And then Chief Bogo, which is the police chief, says, "Would you like a traumatic adulthood?" And he says, "No, I would not." And he takes his like shutter sunglasses from like LMFAO's, and puts them in his pocket, and he acts right.
It's
Like
still Idris Elba, isn't it? That's
yeah,
Chief
yeah.
Gogo. Yeah.
That's like of the scenes I've seen, like that's a great. Maybe that's showing a little bit of the millennial, but like I feel like that's
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. I was like, would you like a traumatic adulthood? And it's like,
No, people
Nope.
love it, and they consider it better than the first. I've seen a lot of people make
Wow.
that argument, and obviously there's going to be a third. So with that, we'll go ahead and round out our top 5 with Greenland 2 Migration. Jake, you bet big on the Gerard Butler starring
there
post-apocalyptic
was nothing
thriller.
else. To me, there was nothing else.
No, I'm not saying you're wrong because I was almost there with you. Not resonating with audiences at all.
No, I didn't think it would.
The disaster thriller commanded a $90 million production budget. The Daily's newsletter made a good point in suggesting that maybe because the first one was a straight-to-streaming release, that there might not have been an audience for the theatrical, which is an interesting commentary on some of the practices and the behaviors of the audience. If they feel like something is made for streaming and then you put it in theaters, unless it's like a Stranger Things, unless it's like a K-pop Demon Hunters, you won't really have a lot of success. You have to be a very successful film and not just a moderately successful streamer to pull that audience into theaters. So that might be something that we see impact decision-making moving forward with streaming versus theatrical, especially with sequels of streamer first. But that's an interesting point I wanted to bring up.
I would argue that Greenland 2 is not a good one to make a decision on, mainly because I can't believe they made a second one.
I've not seen the first one.
I've seen a part of that, and it was kind of like I know 2012 I think did well, but
that was the dumbest movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, but like that's what these are. These are like, and then there was the DiCaprio and Lawrence End of the World one too.
Now that was one of the best I've ever seen. You're on two ends of the spectrum there with the apocalyptic.
Like these types of movies, you know what I'm saying? Like, but what I'm saying is Ryan, like I just named off 2 of those movies. Would you give them sequels?
No, and I think you're exactly right. And no, you're very right to not want to use this one as kind of your case study. But I think it's interesting to look at the behaviors anyway. You could make the argument exactly that it's what is it even Greenland 2, and that's why it didn't do well. But it is something that will be used when documenting behaviors of audiences. And again, the examples I gave already, the series finale to Stranger Things and K-pop Demon Hunters, both did fantastic, right? Yeah. So. You have your yes and no's, but I that is interesting to point out, and I think you make some great points to the contrary. Other news from around the box office, Marty Supreme and Anaconda both fall out of the top 5, with Marty Supreme in particular being interesting as it fell a lot farther than what anyone thought. However, the latter of the two, being Anaconda, officially ticks past the $100 million mark worldwide, which, again, that's another kind of surpriser. Like, I don't think many people were anticipating Anaconda to be this big worldwide. I know it wasn't expected to fall beneath. Who did it compete with? Was it Marty Supreme that it actually competed with at one point, like a couple weeks ago? But anyway, Anaconda still massively successful. I was talking to someone not long ago. Jack Black, when you do the math, has by himself as a lead in these films in 2025 has grossed over 1.1 billion. A Minecraft movie was 950 million, and now we're at 100 million, over 100 million for Anaconda.
Well, good for him. Do
with that information as you will, that Jack Black made $1 billion as a lead in 2025.
Oh, in that last year. When did Mario come out? Was that earlier? Much earlier?
Yeah, 23.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, Jake, we're getting old, man. We're getting old.
You're getting old.
With that was unnecessary. With that, we're going to go through our predictions. So, Jake, I want you to give me yours first. Hit me with it. What do you think next week will look like in the box office?
The opposite of Ryan. All right, you go. All right, so I'll go over what we can see coming out next week is Hamnet, which is the Shakespeare, right? With who was that? Sorry, I'm blanking now. Who's gonna be in Hamnet? Wasn't that like some Paul Mescal? Yeah, that guy. Anyway, for you Paul Mescal lovers out there, Dead Man's Wire, which we showed on our trailer episodes, that we need to do another one of those.
That's coming back. Yes.
Is it Daiquiri, Montgomery, Bill
Yes.
Skarsgård, Al Pacino? Like, big deals. Carl Elwes. Like, yes. Can't wait, because like we were just talking about in the trailers, like all the wardrobe, just wardrobe department period, at least for the beyond the screen people, chef's kiss. Like, I don't think anybody else is probably going to point it out, but I'm going to say that yes, perfect 100%.
When a film gives you nostalgia for an era, you're just looking at it and you're like, oh, like it just looks so aesthetic. Smoke haze,
the
in the air,
haze,
neon light,
like the haze of the smoke in the air. It's like, I know what that room smells like.
The bright colors everyone's wearing. Oh, the afros
orange,
everywhere.
Orange, just orange.
And cool cars, man. We're not talking about the automobile industry in the 1970s. It was like muscle cars.
I don't want to talk about the automobile industry.
Okay, yeah, he'll go too deep into it. Anyway, please continue.
Because I know what happened in the 1970s.
We're also going on topic.
Crisis.
Continue with your box office.
There's a crime drama mystery thriller with Jodie Foster called A Private Life. Madagascar is getting a re-release. I don't know what that's about. I'm really slow-mo. Can you see that? 28 years later, The Bone Temple, which is wide. So, and then Lord of the Rings is getting a re-release. About it. All you need is Kill is a G Kids release, but that's super limited. That's about it. That's about it. All I'm seeing
For this upcoming weekend's release.
Yes, in terms of like big names, unless you want to call Charlie the Wonder Dog coming out. It's a big name, but never heard of that. Anyway, my top 5, 28 years later, The Bone Temple. I think it's coming back. I think people want to know, because this is going to be like a big reveal of, they hope it's going to be a big reveal of why the rage virus is a thing, or Ralph Fiennes is going to cure it. Like, they think that he's on to something, and they've alluded enough in the trailers that he does, that people are going to want to go watch this. So even though that I wouldn't say betrayed trust, but had kind of crapped out on the other 28 years later, I think this one, regardless of if it's good or not, people are going to go watch, because it actually gives them some insight into the lore of this world. I've seen the trailers, and it makes me want to go watch it because I want to know why.
Yeah.
Dude, I am so slow.
No, it's okay. It's okay. He's in slow motion.
Can you hear me fine?
Yes. You come through clear.
All right. Dang. I'm quick now.
It's catching up.
I'm quick now. Yeah. Spotify listeners have got no idea.
Yeah. For our audio listeners, we're experiencing some minor technical difficulties. Jake is lagging behind a little bit of his own voice. But anyway.
Dude, a little bit.
Oh, there goes
a lot of bit.
The baked. Anyway, he switched cameras. Continue with your box office. 28 years later is your first.
Yeah. Avatar 3, I think, will drop. I think it's going to drop to The Bone Temple. I really do. I don't think it's going to be. It's losing 48.6% at a time, and so I think it'll drop another 50, or like closer to 50, which will put it at like 11-ish next week. So that's going to drop it. I think Bone Temple can pull more than 10 or 11. I really do. What did 28 years later do?
Oh, its first weekend was insane. It pulled in a lot in its debut.
Super quick, 30. Yeah.
He's feeling confident, ladies and gentlemen.
So I with Avatar not even sitting at 30 right now, drop that thing second. All right. Then I've got, for my 3, Dead Man's Wire. I think this is gonna do great, because like Skarsgård and I think this story, even though it's kind of, I guess it's based on a true story, and like, what do you describe this as? Biography, crime, drama, history.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I've not seen a lot of trailers, but I don't know if I'm the audience that they're marketing to. I think it's going to do well at 3. It's going to get under 10 or under Avatar at 10 million. And then I've got Hamnet coming in lower than 10 as well. And then Zootopia kind of like riding the edge of 5 because Zootopia is going to lose another 50%. So it's going to be sitting at 5 million. So between Avatar 3 and Zootopia 2, I've got a $5 million gap I'm betting on for those to slide in that order.
Yeah.
So that's where my major risk zone is. But that's why I put Bone Temple and Avatar 3 at the start of like 30 million, 10 million. And I got 5 to really work with here. Or Avatar 3 could surprise us, I guess, and come in the teens, higher teens. But still, my biggest risk is the lower 3. It's always going to be that, I guess.
Oh, yes. And I think you're exactly right to put 28 years later at 1, despite me not having 28 years later at 1. And I'm not even going to lie. I'm kind of hoping against hope. This has been the 1 week that I've had penciled in for a while with Avatar. I felt like with the weak competition it had in its weeks 2 through 4 that it was going to be fine at 1. But this one was the one that it had to survive if it was going to match Avatar 1 and 2, 7. Each of them did 7 consecutive weeks at the number 1 spot. It had to survive this one. And I'm hoping against hope that it does, just because it's something cool in cinema history to be able to witness each of these films last as long as they have. However, you do make some great points. But I think 28 years later, the Bone Temple will finish second, just because the first one was so disappointing. The first one, it was one of those films that it had such a great, I mean, talk about a like blast off, rocket into the stratosphere type of debut and even second week. But by the time I got through that second week, audiences were like, this is weird. Like, this is odd. This is not what I expected, and it tanked quick. So I feel like when you do that, yes, the marketing for it's done really well. You kind of lose some reliability with audiences, and I think that while 30 is a good indicator of what it could be, I think that it's going to come in as less because people were so disappointed with the original 28 years later. So I think Bone Temple finishes second. I think it's going to be a tight race between Avatar 3 and 28 years later. I'm not even going to lie. I am, again, leading with my heart here. I probably shouldn't be, but it'll bite me in the end, and I'll be happy about it. Finishing third, I have Hamnet. My reasoning behind this is because for the last however many weeks, we've had the Sydney Sweeney starring The Housemaid, right? We've had The Housemaid at 3 for what feels like forever, and it was still competing for second this week. It jumped from like 5 or 4 to 2, and now it's still competing for 2. What is the biggest threat to The Housemaid's success is a film that will commandeer the same audience. Hamnet will pull a very similar audience, not in terms of the thriller, but Frida McFadden in Hamnet, I feel like will pull a very similar. Frida McFadden's the author of The Housemaid. I feel like those who enjoy those books, those who have enjoyed this film, will also more likely than not be inclined to go watch Hamnet. And I think that's why Hamnet will take its place and finish third. On top of the fact it's a debut, I think we'll see Hamlet probably actually compete for, like, maybe not quite second, but it will be a lot higher than what a lot of people think. Just because, again, that audience is there. They're already going to theaters. They have been for The Housemaid. Here they are for Hamnet. Fourth is Dead Man's Wire. Dude, there's so many tight races this week. I hope Dead Man's Wire can be this way. But it's one of those films that it's an aesthetic film. It's almost niche. I worry that it won't pull in the same audience, but I will still have it at 4 just because I love the way it looks. I want it to succeed. Again, I'm leading with my heart, but I'm going to stick with it. And at 5, I have Primate. I think Zootopia, this is where Zootopia finally bites the bullet. It's 7 weeks in. On its 8th week, I think it will drop to below. You talk about it being 8. I think Primate will still be, if it's at 11, I think Primate will still be around. Well, no. Zootopia won't be 8. Zootopia will be closer to 5. I think Primate will be closer to that 8 mark, 7, 8 mark. And I think that it will continue to hold out. And the rest of it's kind of a bottomless pit after that. Who knows after that? But I think my top 5 will be Avatar 3, 28 years later, The Bone Temple, Hamnet, Dead Man's Wire, and Primate as my top 5.
You're crazy for putting Primate in there.
I don't think it will drop as hard. I think that in week 3 it will drop a lot, but I think it will still succeed in its second week in terms of, even if it drops 50%, it's going to be at 6 or 7, and I think Zootopia is going to be below that. Oh boy, there he goes. Anyway, Jake, hit us with what Jimmy said. What's Jimmy predicted for next week?
All right. Jimmy's 100% correct. Yeah. Jimmy actually agrees with me, believe it or not. Dude, I'm so slow.
Continue. Hit me with Jimmy.
Jimmy says 28 years later, the Bone Temple at 1, Avatar 3 at 2. Okay, Hamnet, Hamnet at 3, The Housemaid at 4, and Zootopia 2 at 5. Look, I think it's got the right idea. I think it's putting too much faith in Hamnet and also The Housemaid.
I think that's way too much competition for the same audience to have them set like back to back like that. That's crazy.
No.
One of them, one of them's not going to be there. At least one of them. Anyway.
I'm surprised Ryan has taken Zootopia 2 out of his top 5.
I think it's going to drop. I think it's finally going to drop. We have so many films coming in here that are new that people want to go see. I think that Zootopia 2 is going to drop.
You're nuts.
We will see. We'll see. We'll come back next week. Well, Jake will see us in the next segment. Coming up after the break, we talk about Dave Filoni taking over Star Wars and Sebastian Stan in the Batman Part 2. Coming up next. Hello and welcome back to Beyond the Screen. Thank you, Jake, for joining me again for segment 2. And thank you for sticking around for a lengthy first segment. Jake is baked. He for our audio
doing
listeners,
my best, folks.
Jake's trying everything he can to fix his visuals, but it just continues to look more and more like 2018, like the E. Like it looks bad. And he's gone. Jake's gone. So now it's just me. Jake completely disconnected. So I will fill in the gap for just a few minutes until Jake's return. We're going to go ahead and get in our news here. I think Jake's hopping in. Dave Filoni is officially set to take over as head of Star Wars. Kathleen Kennedy stepping down. The long-awaited, the highly praised from fans all over the place. And we were kind of expecting it. There's been rumors that he was going to leave or that she was going to step down. There were rumors that it would be Dave Filoni and someone else. And this is exactly what we got. So, as reported by Puck News and sourced from Screen Rant, the current Lucasfilm chief creative officer will likely take over as a creative lead for the galaxy far, far away, that being Dave Filoni. Filoni will be joined as co-president with current general manager of Lucasfilm Business, Lin-Wen Brennan. Each will continue to oversee their various outlets, Filoni as creative and Brennan as business, in their co-presidential roles. As of this moment, it's unclear whether or not Kennedy will be completely removed from all things Star Wars, as she is currently still billed as producer for several upcoming projects, and there's also the opportunity that Kennedy is also some sort of a mentor figure or sticks around as in an advisory capacity. No one really knows. All we know is that she is stepping down and Dave Filoni as creative head is taking her place. Regardless, the move is revered by fans, as this change in leadership has been demanded for years. Since joining Lucasfilm in 2012, Kennedy has been scrutinized for her involvement in what became the sequel trilogy and other failed universe-expanding projects. As for Filoni, he isn't without his own detractors, but people are still generally excited for the fact that Filoni can take control. In terms of his own history, he is a co-creator for Avatar: The Last Airbender, before eventually going under the wing of George Lucas himself and creating Star Wars: The Clone Wars on Cartoon Network. Filoni has seemingly long been pegged as the guy to replace not only Kathleen Kennedy, but George Lucas. With this now officially happening, it's been something that's been in the works for a long time. People have been talking about it. What should we expect from future Star Wars projects, and what should we hope to see?
Hopefully Dave not getting pegged.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Funny.
I hope to see some great stuff out of Star Wars. If a lot of people think that Kathleen Kennedy was the root cause, but I doubt she was the main cause. But if Disney can keep their grubby little fingers out of my IP,
Yeah.
then we'll be fine. Can you hear that?
Yes, it's okay, Jake. Jake is having a ton of technical difficulties here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. But we love you, Jake. Thank you for being here. But no, I think you're exactly right. You know, it's okay.
Dang mouse. Those dang mouse. The mice.
in the back of your computer. Yeah, they're
No,
messing
no,
everything
no.
up.
I'm talking about the Disney,
Oh, gotcha,
the
gotcha,
mouse,
gotcha.
the mouse.
Yeah, I completely agree. But I think the problem really started. You talk about Disney whenever they varied and deviated from the original plan, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
not here. I think a lot of people look at George Lucas as if he's some sort of messiah figure who is writing the golden tablet in the Book of Mormon, right, for Star Wars.
You don't
But
think he?
I
Okay.
think I love George Lucas. He was the guy. I think he had a roadmap that should have been followed, but he was also making it up as we go. You know, people forget that 25 years, people were just as angry at him for the sequel or the prequels. You know what I'm saying? Like this was a thing. Now, in retrospect, a lot of people love the prequels.
Just
and
the process, bro.
the problem is no one will say that about the sequels. I think I might have made that claim before that the sequels will be loved, but I can't say that now. I actually have changed my opinion on that. I don't know. I want to see now in particular. I think the Skywalker saga, which we have more about Luke and Mark Hamill and J.J. Abrams later. We'll talk about it in our third segment. But now that that's over, I know they're going back and they're retelling some of it, and there's a plan or like in the works right now for Rey and a follow-up story with that. I'll be so for real with you. It's time for Star Wars to become new. It's time for a reset. It's time for them to new characters, new arcs in the future beyond the Skywalker saga. You know what I'm saying? I'm interested to see, because again, I know it's probably more of a theory. I think they are going back and retelling a lot of it until they get to the point of Rey. Then they're going to decide what to do. And they're hoping that the success of Rey's follow-up story can help with that. But beyond that, beyond whatever Rey becomes and however that story continues and whatever they're going to do to try to retcon and rewrite certain elements of her sequel trilogy, it's time to jump forward however many centuries, and it's time to tell new stories. New Sith, new Dark Force users, new Jedi, whatever you want to call them, right? It's time for Star Wars to become its own thing again and become new. We have moved past the Skywalker saga, and a lot of people can argue that the Skywalker saga is Star Wars, right? Like there's nothing else outside of that, and I think that's a valid point. But what I want to see from Dave Filoni is I want it to feel Lucasian, right? Like I want it to feel like we're back in the George Lucas era. I want it to feel Lucasian. There you go.
No.
I want it. I know. But I want it to feel like we're in a land of whimsy again. Because right now it just feels like half-baked ideas. It feels like people who generally misunderstand their characters. It feels like there's not enough thought that goes into these stories. Very few have, but most of them haven't, right? I don't know. And a good food for thought and a good mental exercise is like, did we see something like this already? What I'm suggesting with the Acolyte and it get shot down immediately, right? Something we've seen, and we've kind of shot ideas back and forth over text and somewhat in person, Jake. There are two elements that I'm excited to see get explored. One, if they're not going forward and want to go back, I would love to see a more Old Republic. I'd love to see more Old Republic. There's so many stories there that are just prime for the picking. The other one, horror. There are so many stories in Legend that are so scary.
Isn't that confirmed?
I don't know. I didn't do the research on it. I had seen some people like talking about it, but I don't know. Maybe it is something that's happening. Regardless, that still further proves my point. I'm so excited to see more scary. I want to see, because think about this galaxy, in a galaxy where Rancors exist, right? Show me more of that. I want to see some spooky. You put me in the cockpit as a lone fighter pilot in the deep recesses of space in the outer rim, and they see something that they've never thought they would ever run into. That would be such a fascinating story in and of itself. So yeah, I want to expand it. I would love a future project. I'd love more standalones like Starfighter that we're about to get this next year. I'm so excited for that. But if we're really going to go deep, give me Old Republic. Go real deep into the Old Republic and let's start telling those stories on the big screen or on in the series.
I don't disagree with you with like going back in time. I'm looking at Filoni's like, I wanted to know not only what he's executive producer, like that's important being an executive producer. It means he's got a finger in the pie. I want to know what he's directed. And one of those that obviously stands out is Star Wars: The Clone Wars, right? He had of all of them, I don't know how many there were. He did 33 of them. He's like a big contender in directing or supervising director or executive director in that series that everybody regards as like it's perfect, right? It is the best way to tell the Clone Wars story. And I mean, for the longest time when I was growing up, I was like, I'm not really into that cartoon. I can't get into the, I guess, short mini arcs, I guess, in this Star Wars story. I get the gist, and I did not finish it. I have not watched it. I hear it got darn good, and it grew as the audience got older. It got darker.
So rich, dude. Like, it's so rich, and there's so many characters. The expansion on Maul's storyline.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it alone. But yeah, continue.
So, and then he's got Ahsoka under his belt as director of that, as well as supervising director of Rebels, and then he directed The Mandalorian. Unfortunately, he directed the Book of Boba Fett, which a lot of people didn't care for, but it still got good ratings. It got better ratings than some of his other stuff here. But he's been executive producer on like The Bad Batch and Skeleton Crew and what else we have here? I'm going through them. A lot of other things. So I think it's in good hands in terms of staying true to a universe and like doing it justice, I guess. Remaining true to the Force, I guess, where I think a lot of other movies or things that didn't have the faithfulness to the idea of the Force, you know, and like, I guess the lore. I think Filoni does well with staying true to lore. The lore he was given and staying within the realm, the constraints of that. Not really like he might walk the line on a few things, but I would argue that a lot of things in the movies were like, yeah, I guess they can do that.
Yeah, I think you could like bring up a great point about the Force specifically, because it felt like, especially in the last 15 years, so maybe 10 years, the Force just became like a cop-out for any story, like any problems with your story. Oh, you have a plot hole? The Force will fix it. Like, i.e., the one that pops up in my head the most is when Rey just out of nowhere in the final, in The Rise of Skywalker, just is like, let me force heal this thing real quick. And then it completely, like, why was Anakin not allowed to do that? Why didn't he have that ability? Because if he would have had the ability to, like, with all of his power and his might, without turning to the dark, just look at somebody and go, heal. That would solve all his problems.
Yeah, that would have negated
the entire reason Darth Vader became Darth Vader.
Actually, it would have negated the entire first 3 movies.
Yeah, because he could save Shmi, and then oh my gosh, and then Padme saved, like, everything's done if that's like, give me this ability to save her, and then Rey's just like, beep, like, just
I can do it.
Oh, that really, like, stuff like that, right? Where it's just like, oh yeah, let's, like, I feel like these are cop-outs, and I feel like these aren't very well thought through. But with the Force in general, I would love for it to get almost like a nerf, but not like, I know like the Force is cool, but like the Force is the Force, right? I don't think it needs to be able to do everything. There are certain things that are really cool, and I like whenever certain characters can do things that other characters can't, but it shouldn't be your ultimate trump card for a plot hole. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see more of these characters. That's what made Obi-Wan Kenobi so fantastic, was because, you know,
they stayed true to it.
Like Obi-Wan as a character, the guy was using his brains and his just general ability. He wasn't just using the Force to fix everything. You could say that about every character, like, behind 2012, right? But the point, you get what I'm saying.
I'm trying to find director, and I think it was Joby Harold, but I don't know for sure. I think they jumped around a lot with directors on this one.
In what?
In Kenobi.
Yeah.
Oh, Deborah Chow. Deborah Chow did. Was it only 6 episodes?
Oh yeah, the Kenobi was very short.
Yeah, then Deborah Chow did that one, and I liked it. I thought it was a great story.
I liked the continuation, kind of that odd era in the middle between Darth Vader and when Luke is an adult.
I like their, I guess, relationship. Yeah, there were some points where I was like, "Is that needed?"
The Leia arc was a little silly.
Yeah.
a little silly. Like I know that was like the whole point, but like there were parts in the Leia arc that were a little goofy, haha, right?
Yeah.
But generally, I thought it was a very well told
But
story.
between Vader and Kenobi, I
Oh,
thought that was
oh,
peak.
seeing the mask break open,
Yeah.
and you hear Hayden Christensen come through a little bit. You hear his voice, and
Yeah.
he's gone. Like
Anakin is gone. Yeah.
like,
That gave all of
chills.
the TikTok editors like
Oh,
the
feeding.
best feeding
families.
them.
Yeah.
Feeding them. Feeding families with that voice. So
But yes, so like yes, the Leia arc. I know that was like the big arc or whatever. There were elements of it that were really silly, and I felt like Leia at points was very cringy. But the point is, Kenobi was a good series. Might not have been the best, but it was a good series, and we want more of that. That Mr. Filoni, if you're listening, Old
I know
Republic,
you got it in you.
Old Republic, more like we want new characters, new stories. We want fixed timeline, and we want what was the last one? It was the Force. Make the Force not a plot hole fixer. Make it like an actual ability that has its limitations as well.
I honestly, unfortunately, I will contradict Ryan. I will counter him and say, I want to see not the acquisition, but like the recruiting of young Force users into a Padawan school. I guess under the new order. I guess that would be Luke. Well, with Luke, with him trying to be a teacher. I want to see like, so in Legends at least, Luke is like crazy, super powerful, like stuff like that. I want to see kind of like after that point where he wants to teach.
Yeah.
Kind of like where he is with Grogu in The Mandalorian, I guess, is when he takes him under his wing and he's trying to teach Grogu. I don't know if I assume that's before what takes place with Rey. I mean, obviously, I guess it is, but or before he starts teaching kids. I don't know if Grogu was his first student. Is Grogu his first student?
I'm going to assume. I haven't done the research on that.
I think that's the timeline.
I think that's supposed to be because he's very young whenever he shows up to help.
Yeah, he looks like he did.
Din Djarin, I guess.
In the last. I think that's what he looked like in the last movie, and I think they de-aged him all the way to the point where he's actually wearing the same thing.
Yeah.
And so I think that would be a cool story. Is I don't know if there is a story there. I just want to see him as a teacher trying to teach a bunch of Padawans.
This is a great transition because if and when they do that, because there's inevitably going to be more Luke Skywalker, right? Instead of doing the somewhat
Hamill passes, I guess.
Well, yeah, but what I'm suggesting is not Hamill actually, which I know is kind of like a heretic.
He's gonna say something.
Oh, have you not seen it? A lot of people
I've seen it.
Sebastian Stan as a potential replacement for Mark Hamill as a young Luke Skywalker. But with that's just a theory, right?
He's
Matt Pat once
segueing.
famously said. We're going to talk about Sebastian Stan, who has actually been cast as something pretty important in Matt Reeves' The Batman Part 2 as Two-Face. I still have it as potentially in this because some of the reporting on how it was like approved or whatever is kind of iffy. But more likely than not, Sebastian Stan is going to be Two-Face. Again, confirmed by the Hollywood Reporter and the actor's own stylist because, believe it or not, Stan's stylist posted on Instagram images of Sebastian as Two-Face, and that's what people are using, and that's what the Hollywood Reporter kind of ran on. I think they might have had some other insider information, but those are the two sources we have. So seemingly, MCU vet Sebastian Stan is set to portray Harvey Dent / Two-Face in the upcoming sequel to The Batman with not only Matt Reeves, but obviously, as we know, Robert Pattinson, and one more interesting character that we're about to get into in a minute. But before we get there, I'm going to give you a quick breakdown. This, in unison with the recent casting of, here we go, Scarlett Johansson, has pointed to many theories. As outlined by Forbes, while we don't know at what stage Harvey Dent will be in the film, there are many clues as to what the potential storyline could entail. Matt Reeves has said in previous interviews that the main antagonist of his new film will be, quote, a villain that hasn't been filmed on screen before. There's a typo there, excuse me. And that, again, according to Forbes. If said never-before-seen villain is portrayed by Johansson, Many theorize that she could be or could have been Andrea Beaumont. Excuse me, sorry, I'm tripping on my own words here. From the legendary Mask of the Phantasm storyline, or a member of the Court of Owls. The problem is, neither of these, again, as Forbes points out, features Two-Face. Mask of the Phantasm and Court of Owls has no Two-Face. So, can't be these storylines. The next two options described include Hush or The Long Halloween, both of which feature never-before-adapted characters and include Two-Face. Yet, only one of these have already provided Reeves with inspiration, that being The Long Halloween. The storyline features Harvey and Gilda Dent in a major Two-Face origin story. In the comic, Gilda is revealed to be the serial killer Holiday, who only kills members of Gotham's most famed crime families on, as you guessed it, holidays throughout the year. Other news we know surrounding the film is that Barry Keoghan will more than likely cameo again as the Joker. So, Jake, with all that, what do we think about Stan's casting and about the most recent theories regarding the Batman Part 2's potential storyline?
For those diehard fans of Beyond the Screen, can somebody please put in the comments all of the people that we were trying to guess would be Two-Face and if we got it right? Actually, you don't even have to do all the ones that we guessed. I really feel like we had shot out Sebastian Stan as a maybe. I feel like that was because we were talking about this earlier, and because it had kind of leaked or speculation was that it would be The Long Halloween, which meant that the Two-Face story would have a little bit different of a Two-Face, as opposed to like Nolan's portrayal of a blonde man playing Two-Face. It was more of a, well, there was terminology too that you had used in terms of like what they look like, in terms of like a gruff or a dark-haired.
Well, I don't remember what terminology,
remember.
but when you think of Two-Face, you think of like, so I think of the Batman the Animated Series, which had like a darker skin toned, dark
That's
jet
what
black hair.
Yeah.
And so it's like I when I envision Two-Face, because that's the Batman that I grew up with, right? Like, and then you have like after that, it's like Gotham or Arkham, the Arkham series video games. And in that one, it's a little different. But I always envision when you say Two-Face, my first instinct go-to is that gruff, that just, he's a politician. He's got a strong jaw, big chest. He is what you would imagine a stereotypical attorney politician would look like. And so when we had that discussion, now that you're describing it, I remember, I think one of us said George Clooney if they wanted to go older.
Yeah.
I do remember saying George Clooney, but I don't remember if we said Sebastian. So I'd like to know.
Probably not. We threw out a lot of names that day, but we might have to go back and figure that out. But I think there's a chance we had said Sebastian, but that's just me. Like, I was like, it's got to be someone huge. It's like, because this is Batman 2. It's gonna be someone big, like we know, because it's gonna be like one of the main villains. I think we probably threw out like Oscar Isaacs. Like, we thought that like maybe
he would have killed it.
We named a lot, right? But I don't know. That's just all I really got to say. I think Sebastian Stan is a great pick. Couldn't have picked better. Even though I named off probably double-digit people that that they could have chose. Honestly, Stan is he's gonna kill it, dude. I know he's gonna be awesome, and I can't wait for Pattinson to. Emily says Stan is the man. As she says that after having trouble picking him out of a crowd. She says hush.
We love it's not hush, it's gonna be The Long Halloween.
No,
but
she said
I know I'm being sarcastic. But I love this because just imagine, everyone close your eyes and just think of watching the big screen. Sebastian Stan standing across from Robert Pattinson in the Batsuit. Let that sink in.
Which side of Stan am I looking at?
This is gonna be sick. And whichever one you want, because I'm envisioning more of like the burnt side. But like, think about everything that Bucky was, kind of like he was for a while, he was morally ambiguous. He was troubled. He was constantly ridden of guilt, but also obviously the brainwashed for what he did when he was brainwashed, I should say, ridden with guilt. But you take some of that and you make it worse, right? You make it twisted. You take that guilt that one half of him still feels and the other that he just cannot escape because of the mental trauma that he went through from having been given the burns, right?
Yeah.
I think it's perfect. I think he has proven he can play that type of character. I think it's proven that he has the chops to be whatever they need him to be. And it's Sebastian Stan. Like, come on. Like, I this is one of those that's like, you just, there's no losing, regardless of what you get, whatever the story is. Even if the story is terrible, people will leave saying Sebastian Stan was great. The story was bad, but Sebastian Stan was great.
And Pattinson.
Well, yeah, obviously that's a
only
given.
bro out. I think
Yeah,
he's gonna also kill it.
I love the theories. I love that people are trying to figure
And
out.
ScarJo.
Yeah.
ScarJo is good too.
I love that people are trying to figure out who ScarJo is. I love the idea of the villain because I'm not really familiar with the Long Halloween personally, but I do love the idea that holiday's a thing when the Calendar Man is also a thing. They're just different days of the week. It's so I find that comedy or comedic, but I'm very interested to see. I hope this is a true origin story for Two-Face. I'd like to see them go something different. If you remember in the animated series, I don't remember exactly what Harvey was doing, but it was like an explosion. And there's a lot of people.
I only know the Nolan one, really. Like when you say Harvey Dent, I think of I don't know his name, the actor who played.
Eckhart.
Yeah,
yeah.
I like you say Harvey Dent, I think of him like before Burning, and then when you say Two-Face, I don't really have an image in my mind besides like the animated ones.
Yeah.
With the crazy hair.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That's who I think about when you say Two-Face. But when you say Harvey Dent, I think of the blonde guy.
So there are two different moments from the animated series that really stick out to me that I would love to see somewhat adapted, even if it's in the story. And one of them is it's kind of funny. So you have it's Two-Face's origin. It's Harvey Dent. I cannot remember exactly what he's doing because I'm thinking back at probably 18 years from the last time I actually sat down and watched it. But long story short, they're in they're in some sort of facility and they're above these vats, right? And one of them explodes. And so whenever it explodes, you see Harvey Dent flip-flop, Avatar falling out.
Vat? Why do they got vats everywhere, dude?
Well, I don't know. But it explodes, right? And
I don't know.
they fly back like the Navi out of the helicopter thing.
That's so funny.
Back, and he lands and Batman runs up to him and it's Kevin Conroy, so it's the most recognizable Batman ever. Yeah. And he goes and he flips him over and you see his character he makes a face oh, and he goes He goes, and this is genuinely what it sounds like. Harvey, no. That's what he goes, no. And it's so perfect and it's actually really funny. But that is how Two-Face is and there's a scene where right after that where they're cutting off the bandages and you first see it and it's boiled and it's blue and his lips are purple and it's it's grotesque for a 90s cartoon. It's super grotesque, but it's so perfect. His eye is yellow. It's crazy. There's another one where following that, and this might be actually the same storyline. This might be whenever Harvey Dent becomes Two-Face and kind of like a crime lord. He flips the coin, right? That's how he decides anything. He's got his good and his bad side and his representative of him. How Batman defeats him, and it's so upsetting because of just the voice acting. I want to see this. So at the end of the episode, Batman confronts Two-Face, and Two-Face is like, I'm flipping this coin, and if it lands on the wrong side, I'm going to do it. I don't remember exactly what it was. I think it was to kill somebody. But for whatever reason, Harvey had this big pile of coins, in this box. And Batman, being somewhat near it, throws it. And all these coins go everywhere right as Harvey flicks the coin in the air. So he doesn't see which one where it falls. And the voice acting, he falls on the ground on his hands and knees and he is just wailing. He's screaming, where is it? Where is it? And it's just you hear it and it is so visceral, right? Like this is a man in anguish. This is a man who his entire purpose was put into something he can understand, which is this coin. And that coin he cannot find it. He's lost in a sea of coins and he can't it's almost like you can hear his mental state deteriorating because whatever he was using to create solid ground underneath him was gone. It was completely wiped out from underneath him. And it was just I want to see that. I know that's a simple 90s cartoon way of getting out of a situation and ending in the hero defeating the villain. But it just stuck with me so, I see it so vividly because of how, yes, it was simplistic, but hearing the mental anguish, right? Right. The idea that, yeah, of course he would have multiple coins. He would have a thing of coins and he'd scratch one end because, duh, it's a coin. You're going to lose it, right? So, but that being used against him, that was his own downfall when he was preparing for forever, essentially. I just think that that's so wildly entertaining. And I'd love to see something like that because, like, again, Sebastian Stan can play those mentally deranged, those mentally, like, the struggling, right? Like, the barely having anything beneath them mentally in terms of, like, their sanity. I want to see, and on top of the feeling guilt, the drama of guilt, right? You add all that together and you throw something like that at a Sebastian Stan, I think he'd kill it. And that's something I really want to see. So I don't know how that would look in a long Halloween, but I would love to see it.
Gonna do great, I think.
And please go and watch that clip. Harvey, no. He says it just like that. He says it just like that. No. And then you know what it does? Fade to black. fade to black, and that's the end. Or I think it shows him in the hospital after that, but it's pretty funny. Anyway, any other thoughts on Stan the Man as Two-Face?
I do not, but I'm not appreciating you calling him two-faced. All right. Take it back.
Man, sometimes you just got to call it like you see it, you know? Anywho,
Moving
that's
on.
the end of our second segment. Coming up after the break, we play Real or Fake, and we tell you what you should know before you go. We'll be right back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Beyond the Screen. You've made it to segment 3, which is always the last segment of the day. I'm sure you guys at home are going, thank God. But no, yeah, we talked about a lot. We've had a lot of winding conversations because a lot of news has happened. And the fact that you're still here is a miracle. And we just cannot thank you enough. Just thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for allowing us to do this. Thank you for listening to us ramble and rave. If there's anything that you want to educate us on, especially in the beginning, the breaking news, it's tough to do the deepest dive whenever it happens just before, like hours before we record and we're all at work. So we do the best we can and try to understand it the best we can. We give you the news as it's reported, but the breakdown of it, the furthering and the understanding of it, if you know it better, we would love to hear about it and we would love to talk about it next time. So, but
if you're in the industry, if you were there,
yeah,
let us know.
Bro, I was there for the phone call. You wouldn't believe it.
I was on the phone call.
Yeah.
I'm actually Sebastian
David Zasloff. I am David Zasloff. But no, that'd be crazy if either one of them showed up. But no, come back next week to see. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for allowing us to do this. We have a ton of fun making these. We have a ton of fun hanging out and just you allowing us to be here to review, to share our bad opinions and report. I say loosely report because we're not journalists, but just talk about the biggest and the best from last week's news in entertainment and film in general is fantastic. And we have a lot of fun stuff planned and continuing to grow the show. So thank you so much for being here. And Jake, do we have anybody or are we just going to go on? Because we are kind of running over.
We just listen to Beyond the Screen.
Just listen to Beyond the Screen. Just.
I don't.
Put
for the second
your
time, Ryan's going to go on a
headphones-
tangent. Yeah,
Put your headphones in and just listen to Beyond the Screen.
Yeah.
Is that what you want to ask? No.
sometimes.
Most of the time.
Okay.
I kid. We play Real or Fake. If you've never heard of the game before, we read a news headline. We read an opinion, whether that's online, whether that's one of us, or just a fun hypothetical, and we say whether or not that reaction to said headline is real or fake and what we think of it. So, case in point, back to the beginning.
Oh, geez.
Paramount's hostile bid. We talked about
He
it
thinks
earlier.
this joke is so funny. He has to tell it twice.
Well, I wasn't going to say it. I was going to make up another one, but now I'll say it because you called me out on it. It's rejected by Warner Brothers for an 8th time. It's been 8 times. We talked about it earlier. Real or fake? As I said in the beginning, she's just not that into you, man. Leave it alone.
Dude, she just.
What do you think? Real or fake? This just will not happen. Is what that translates to. This just won't happen.
I seriously think that Netflix has sweetened this deal in one way or another. I think that there is something else because come on, right? Like I'm with you. Like corporate greed, right? Like there's shareholders want more money. If they're paying $10 more per share, it ain't just about the dollar per share.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting multi-lineage subscription deals I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
there, something is accruing to be more money in their minds, or to be of a higher worth. Like they all get islands.
Yeah.
I,
Each
I don't know.
shareholder gets one island. Do you really? Yeah, I think when we look at this, right, and we look at Warner Brothers, I doubt Zaslav has that much just hate in his heart to look at his shareholders and say, we're not doing it, right? Like, that's not even possible.
You'd
So
be surprised.
I really think you're exactly right. There's something,
I guess that's fake.
Yeah, it's very fake. It's,
Okay.
I will say fake. Sure. The way I'll say it, when Warner Brothers says Paramount hasn't really tendered a legit offer to raise the dollar amount per share, like they don't have it legitimate, what that makes me think is 15 of it is something hypothetical. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like 15 of the 30, like that, like, and that's being hyperbolic, but it makes me think that there's something there that makes them feel uncomfortable. Like they had said earlier, is like they're hedging their bets.
Saudi money.
Yeah, sure. It's like there's something there that just, for them, they're just not comfortable. Like, again, we don't know, right? Like we only can go by the reports, and the reports say that Zaslav and company told their shareholders that they felt like they were hedging their bets on financing the debt, and they just weren't comfortable with that, even with Larry Ellison confirming or like saying, hey, we have the money, right? So if the shareholders believe that, I don't know. It's in that board's best interest to get the best bang for their buck for the shareholders. And the fact that they are still going with Netflix makes me think Netflix has more solid concrete to give them. So, no. Paramount's, I don't think they're going to get it. I think they're going to try everything they can, and then we're going to see the government step in. But I don't think we're going to see anything outside of this.
I do look forward to seeing, not to say that I look forward to the government stepping in, or looking forward to Netflix being forced to show their deal. I look forward to getting to know, I guess, the knowledge of those things, regardless of whether or not the information came to or founded through
the resolution.
Nefarious means. I look forward to the resolution, not necessarily the path to get there. I know the path will be negative, but I am curious, right? Like, you don't get to really know the full details of one of these deals very often.
You know, there is a path, like a likely possibility that Warner still goes with Netflix, and then Netflix is shut down by the FCC. And then we have another like 3 years of Warner Brothers as an independent company that has split from Discovery Global as they get bought by someone else. Like, that is something that we could genuinely see. So there's a chance that Warner Brothers doesn't get sold for the next until closer to 2030. You know, who knows? But we shall see. Our second real or fake, Sinners makes history as the most nominated film at the SAG Awards and brings home 2 awards from the Golden Globes. Not finished, Variety projects Ryan Coogler's film to be the most Oscar-nominated film ever. I think the number was 15. Yet, many wonder if Benny Safdie's Marty Supreme will come away with more awards, 1 in total. Real or fake, Sinners and Marty Supreme are the 2 teams to beat at the Oscars.
You didn't give me anybody else, but what is it? Can I just look up Oscar favorites?
Yeah, there's definitely, and there are analysts that are breaking down like the current Oscar projections for nominees. I know Hamnet. You've got One Battle After Another.
Best Picture: Begonia, F1, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another. I think that one's gonna win some.
Mm-hmm. Some.
Sinners, yeah. Director, actor, actress. We're going for movies here, not people. Original screenplay has got Marty Supreme and Sinners in it.
Mm-hmm.
And weapons. Adapted screenplay, One Battle After Another goes up against Begonia, Frankenstein, and Hamnet. I'm sorry, I'm just reading these off to you guys just because.
No, you're good.
Animated features got Demon Slayer, which rocked the box office. Leo, K-pop Demon Hunters, one I've not heard of through G Kids, Little Amelie or the character of Rain, and then Zootopia 2 are kind of like favorites there. Production design, I don't know. So coming back now that I know, kind of like, because a lot of them will repeat, right? Begonia's shared, Frankenstein shared, Hamlet shared, Marty Supreme and Sinners are all sharing these categories here. Are these the two to beat? I think One Battle After Another will be in that. I don't think those are the two. I think One Battle After Another holds some standing in that fight. I would argue over Marty Supreme, with Sinners being the favorite.
Interesting.
I would think it's the other way around. From what Ryan thinks. Let's see. I'm still looking through. Yeah, Avatar's in sound and visual effects, but not much others.
Yeah, I don't think Avatar 2 is going to get nominated for a lot, which is interesting.
3.
But something to think about too, I think that you're exactly right with labeling and listing One Battle After Another. At the Golden Globes, they won Best Picture for a Musical or Comedy. They won Best Director, Screenplay, and Supporting Actress with Tiana Taylor. So One Battle After Another did very well at the Golden Globes. But something else to think about too, Sinners lost to Hamnet for Best Drama, which is kind of surprising. That's a big upset in the eyes of many who watched. But going back to Marty Supreme versus Sinners, Marty Supreme, Timothée Chalamet won Best Actor at, was it the SAG Awards or the Golden Globes? I don't think it was Golden Globes, over Michael B. Jordan, which was a big like competition there, was who was going to win. Everyone's talking about Marty or Sinners. And I think you're exactly right with when everyone's talking about one or the other, then all of a sudden a third party comes in and is winning huge awards at the Golden Globes. So I think One Battle After Another, I think it's a 3-man race. So I think this is fake. I think it's Sinners, Marty Supreme, and One Battle are your 3. I've heard a lot of good things about Begonia. I love Frankenstein. It will win, like, it will probably win set design and costume, right? Like, and wardrobe. But it won't win Best Picture. It won't win Best Adapted Screenplay. Like, it just won't. So I think that you will see, like, while it's fun to list those other films, it's a 3-man race. It's not a 2. So this is fake, but I would only add one more film to the listed films already. It will be Sinners, Marty Supreme, and One Battle After Another. And they will be competing for Best Picture at the Oscars. At least in my opinion. Any other thoughts?
So I guess I'm fake. I got money on One Battle After Another, giving these two the run for their money. So they're 3 to beat, I guess, is my.
That is a really early look at our prediction. We're gonna have a prediction special on the Oscars. Actually, and the
means I
Oscars
gotta watch all these guys.
Yeah,
I've been putting off Sinners for a long time.
It's I watched it in the theaters. It is awesome. Don't forget, the Oscars is our season finale. So we're looking forward to that. This could be a big deal here in the next month and a half to 2 months.
I'm gonna be really sleep deprived going up to the Oscars, because I'm gonna have to like start cramming.
There's a lot of really good movies. On the bright side, a lot of them have, like you had said, similar features and similar and like across various different awards. But
last year I had ChatGPT sum me up a schedule. I gave him all the movies that were nominated, and I just said, give me top five each of them, and give me the best schedule for the ones that are going up against each other in those categories, so I could watch for those categories in particular. And that's what I watched too, and it helped a lot.
We were pretty accurate too with our predictions, but I'm excited to get back to it and see what we do this year. But our last real or fake, Viggo Mortensen, our boy, will not be returning as Aragorn in Andy Serkis's The Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum. Real or fake, there isn't another actor on the planet who should portray the character outside of Viggo.
I can be swayed because looking at pictures now. Yeah. There's some other long-haired fellow. Dude, no way somebody photoshopped the Rock into the cloak.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's so funny. Somebody's got Nick Cage. I think that's fake. I mean, he will be missed, right? But I think there's others who can play it. I'm not. Dude, somebody's got Fastbender.
No, well, maybe, but no, I have one. So I think that this is. So the question is should portray, not can. And I think it's real. There shouldn't be anyone else who should portray Aragorn because Vigo is so legendary as Aragorn. But if we're talking about who can, I've seen one get thrown around a lot that I think would be a good option if you had to recast, which they are. Andrew Lincoln. Andrew Lincoln just fits. He's Rick from The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I
He can do it.
really think he's got the not only does he have the prowess as an actor and as a lead, he feels like he could portray what Aragorn is as a character, but also he just kind of looks like him. Like when you throw some makeup on him, give him some long hair, I think he could do it. But other than that, I don't really like. Yeah, Fassbender would probably do a good job.
That was just somebody's.
Right. I look at Andrew Lincoln and I'm like, yeah, that guy.
Oh, way somebody said Pedro Pascal.
Yes.
No.
I love but what if he's just Pedro Pascal, like the way he always is? It's just Aragorn, but it's Pedro Pascal in every role.
Dude, okay. We got to stop talking about this because I'm going to get down into the deep of the fan cast, and we know how Ryan feels about some of these fan castings. We haven't done this in a long time, but Ryan gets very defensive on why some of these, and they're strictly rage bait. Like that's exactly what this is. Okay. It's so funny because I can name the majority of these people. All right. Okay. Like I don't even have their names as like, I don't have their real names. I have just who they're playing, but they're known enough that I know them by their face, it's scary because I don't know a lot of people by their face in terms of, so Gandalf is William Shatner.
No.
Aragorn is Taylor Lautner.
Oh yeah, you've done it.
Gollum is Shaquille O'Neal. Frodo is Sylvester Stallone.
Oh my gosh, what is this?
Legolas is Jaden Smith.
This is fantastic.
Boromir is Hayden Christensen.
Okay.
Gimli is I don't know that. I think that's Orlando Bloom.
He's on. That would actually be awesome.
Samwise Gamgee is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Samwise and Frodo is Sylvester Stallone and Arnold. Okay, you're starting to get into the guys I don't know. A lot of the I actually don't know even the characters in Lord of the Rings. I think there are a lot of like the girl elf and like Eowyn and Arwen and Galadriel. So Galadriel, I don't know who that is, but that's Gwyneth Paltrow. And then Theoden is the kind of like that dirty guy who always plays in the Adam Sandler movies, like Adam Sandler's best friend that he still calls every day.
Yeah, right.
I don't know his name. Anyway, those are. And then Mary is the antagonist from the Rocky movie, the Russian.
Oh,
yeah, that's Mary. Anyway, I said, we could get down in this hole. That was definitely one of those rage bait ones.
I won't even lie. When you said Shaq as Gollum, I kind of tuned everything else out.
He gave up.
The idea of Gollum, like Shaq trying to do the hack, makes me laugh a lot, and that's all I kept envisioning was Shaq trying to voice act as Gollum.
I wish I could find one that wasn't like a complete throwaway that Ryan took seriously. Somebody's got Andrew Lincoln as Aragorn in this.
I think I've seen that, and I think that's a fantastic fan cast if you're going to replace Vigo.
This one's got Cavill as somebody I don't know too, but anyway, yeah, I think you're not far off. Do an Andrew Lincoln. There's one. Sorry, I'm gonna keep doing it. You gotta pull me off this topic. Last one. Daniel Day-Lewis was somebody's.
That's a good one. One. I don't dislike that one. Daniel Day-Lewis. Okay, you throw him at almost any role and it's okay. Like he'll do a great
found
job.
one that stuck. I
would take Daniel Day-Lewis because he's one of the best to have ever done it. Are you kidding me? I'm never going to say no to Daniel Day-Lewis, but I think Andrew Lincoln would fit perfectly if you had to do it, which they're doing. Anyway, that's been Real or Fake, ladies and gentlemen. We will tell you what you should know before you go. We will read you. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 6 quick headlines to read you. We're going to go through them all back to back. And then me and Jake are going to say the ones that interest us. We're going to give a little bit about all of them, but specifically talk about the ones that interest us both. And then we let you guys go at an hour and a half. We'll get started. Number 1, we start off Milo Manheim. How do you say his last name?
Manheim.
Manheim. I should have looked it up. Manheim. I think it's Milo Manheim. And oh man, I'm not gonna say these. I'm so sorry. We are so tired. I think it's Tegan Croft. If not, it might have been a typo with me typing an F in there. But they've been cast as the leads in Disney's Tangled adaptation with Kathryn Hahn.
It's definitely Tegan.
Tegan, yeah. There was definitely a typo on my end. Kathryn Hahn reportedly in talks to play Mother Gothel, which would be a fantastic. That's been a fan cast for a really long time. So I would really like to see that one go through. Milo, I've seen, like, if you look him up and you just look at him, he's going to be a great Flynn Rider. He really is. Now, Tegan Croft, I'm not for sure. I don't see Tangled in that. I don't see Rapunzel.
Really?
But I don't. It just didn't quite hit as straight Rapunzel. But with Milo, I thought that dude looked just like Flynn Rider.
I think Tegan can do it. There's not a lot of her. Like I'm looking through photos right now, and she played Raven, in Titans. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
What
a change! What a change of pace.
But there's not like a lot of her with super long hair. She's usually got about shoulder. But yeah, I'm seeing like an edited poster of them.
Yeah.
It looks pretty good. Now it's Instagram. It's super blurry, so I wouldn't probably give it to you guys. But there's some out there. It's believable. Trust. If you're going to listen to me, Ryan.
I trust. Anyway, let's go ahead and get through these real quick. Netflix's new Scooby-Doo live-action series, an original or an origin story for Mysteries Inc. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm so sorry. For Mystery Inc. begins filming this spring. Marvel's Blade film is reportedly canceled as the company pivots to Midnight Suns. Tom Cruise reportedly helped film a lightsaber duel for Star Wars Starfighter, wading in muddy water and all.
Yeah, he just stuck a camera out there.
Yeah, they put him out. They put him to work. He showed up on set, and Sean Levy was like, "Get out there," and he was like, "All right."
You want to do it?
Yeah. Via Collider and Variety, the Duffer Brothers weren't all that familiar with D&D. Despite its importance to Stranger Things, the duo's knowledge is reportedly, quote, embarrassingly low, with Matt Duffer in particular finding inspiration for the series finale after playing Baldur's Gate 3. And then reported
all you know about D&D is Baldur's Gate 3.
I know. And then kind of passed around the news cycle just today. Netflix themselves, in their own self-documentary, which I have titled down here, called One Last Adventure, The Making of Stranger Things 5. It came out probably just today, actually. It was the follow-up documentary that showed kind of like the behind
Is that
the
episode
scenes.
9?
Yeah, honestly, that is what they were hinting towards releasing. That's what people thought was going to be episode 9. It's not. It's a documentary highlighting the back end and the making of the season. It kind of puts some stuff into perspective with why maybe this is not going so well for the Duffers and for Netflix. As according to the documentary, the script for the finale, the series finale, the thing that we've been working towards for 10 years, right, was not done. The script was not finished before they began filming season 5.
Yeah, dude, that's freaking nuts. We got to stop this, man. That's happens too often, right? Like it's not just a Netflix. It's not just Stranger Things. It's not just Netflix. It's not just like streamers. This happens like often. And I think it shows. Like you don't tell me that you went in not knowing what your script was. I could still probably tell.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are movies out there and some can be good. Some can be great. Most aren't.
To add to your point, you had 3 years.
Yeah.
You had 3 years. Let's just act like you weren't planning. I put this in.
Is that between 4 and 5?
Yeah. 2 or 3 years. You weren't. Let's just act like you weren't planning because it doesn't look like you were. But let's just act like you weren't planning towards this end from the beginning, which is okay if you weren't. But at minimum, you had 2 or 3 years to figure out where it was going. At most, you had at least a decade to figure out where this was going. And you showed up to production on this final season not having it done. I think that shows a lot about the character of the Duffers. I think that says a lot about them as creatives because that's insane.
Yeah.
It's not we used to get shows like this, maybe not to this extent with technology, but like this yearly with
you had
12 to 16 episodes a year or more.
What do they call it? Didn't they have like a mid-year like finale? What they call those?
It was a mid-season finale. It's exactly. Yeah. Like you would have these shows yearly. You could expect every fall. The X-Files had at least 15 episodes on lock weekly every year. And they were done. They were ready. You had 3 years and you still couldn't figure it. 3 years at minimum. And you couldn't get it done before you showed up to production. What were you doing?
Yeah. I'm usually pretty lenient because I don't know the ins and inner workings of a full on production in Hollywood or otherwise. Like I could even begin to understand the bureaucracy that goes into filming a TV show, let alone a movie on the West Coast. I still think personally, as somebody, if I was putting my money towards it as a producer or a studio, etc., if you came to me and said, we're going to start production and all I've seen is an unfinished script because I'm a producer and I need to, I'd be like, what? You're starting production. You don't have a finished script. Why? Like the question is why? And I don't know if there's a good reason. I don't think you could give me a good enough reason to make me feel good about going into an unfinished script and telling a story. Yeah. And then we're not even talking about a very key point of the very anchor of the entire story being D&D and the creators having surface level knowledge that like I share. Like you're telling me that the Duffer Brothers, who have done 5 seasons on a show that pivots on D&D lore, has the same level of knowledge, and you tell me, hey, can you do 5 seasons on the same level as Stranger Things? And I won't discount that they did really good on the first 2 at least, maybe even season 3 as well. I know a lot of people who just say it ends at season 3. They don't even talk about 4 or 5. They're like, no, for me, it was fine on 3.
Yeah.
and like, I couldn't do it. I'm surprised that they went to 5, and I could see why that they didn't finish the script. They're missing. Like, you're telling me he played Baldur's Gate 3, and I was like, yep, well, I'm going with.
Yeah.
And still didn't finish it, by the way.
I guess my point, because one, you're right. Like usually, and especially on the show, we usually give benefit of the doubt. How many times have we both gone on tangents with films are made to have fun, so they don't need to be Oscar winners at all, right? Like they just are made to have fun. This, in my mind, is inexcusable because we have to deal with the fact that shows like we talked about last week, Pluribus, they don't even have episode 1 done, or they just got episode 1 done. You know what I'm saying? And so we're going to have to wait another at least 2 years for Pluribus. Whenever you have people saying this is a letdown, yeah, you made us wait 10 years to get to this finale, and you didn't even bother to have an idea of what the ending was going to look like. You showed up to set on the 5th season without the finale done. The finale's the whole point of watching the show.
Yeah, that was the whole point. People were involved.
You pick up episode 1 to get to the finale.
Mind you, cinematic release.
Yeah, like this is this is abhorrent. You're going to make me wait 3 years and you're not even going to show up to set. This is such a bad precedent. This is such a bad precedent because you know what? They made so much money.
Yeah.
And people, this is what I mean. Like, this is inexcusable, and it does make me think, like, man, you're just going to show up unprepared. You're going to show up not done. This is what you're going to give people after you made them wait for a decade. Oh, that, like, I would have totally, you asked me a week ago, and I'd be like, you know what? It was going to be a letdown anyway because maybe this was what it was always supposed to be. and yada 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 yada. George R.R. Martin is still rewriting a book because his original idea for the ending was so hated. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where we're at. Okay?
Yeah. And he might die writing that book.
Yes. I completely understand that sometimes
People would prefer that.
Sometimes
People would prefer he die than it be wrong.
Sometimes endings just aren't what you expect. And a week ago, I would have looked, me and Jake probably both would have looked at you and said, you know what? They had an idea, they went with it, and it just didn't land. And that happens. Like, it sucks that you had to wait that long. But the fact that it wasn't even something they were working towards, they were
unfinished, and they didn't have source material. Like, they didn't know source material.
So now you made us wait that long for nothing. Like, it's not even like they had a plan. You just made them wait. It grinds my gears to a level that I can't even you can't even comprehend. But yeah,
so the Helldivers 2 movie.
Shame on you. That's what I'll say. Shame. Like, that genuinely, that is so abhorrent. That is pathetic.
I think there was an Avengers or a Marvel movie that was incomplete when they went in, and you could tell that it flopped, it wasn't good, but
you don't even have to say former. They're still doing that with Endgame right now, or not Endgame, Doomsday right now. If you go look up what the potential script for Doomsday is, it says plot under wraps because they're still writing it as they're filming. That's a whole different situation.
I'm looking it up. I know. Isn't there one that was? Doomsday was one of them.
That's a whole different situation, mainly because it wasn't supposed to be this until like a year and a half ago, and then they kind of pivoted hard. And so that one being more of a finicky thing where they're fighting against time to try to quickly make this happen because Jonathan Majors, and they had to change from the Kang Dynasty and like all that. Like, I can give a little bit more there because it was something that they kind of just scrapped together to say we need to make this work.
Yeah, Infinity War and Endgame and the first MCU film Iron Man. So like of the big ones, it's Doomsday, Infinity War, and Endgame, and then their first ever was Iron Man. According to Jeff Bridges, which is the main antagonist, they were calling the writers on the day of shooting for ideas, which
that's so funny.
the MCU still being a massive production company for their first one, that's funny because it worked out like that. Iron Man, although I don't know if it flopped to begin with, it's still, I love that movie, and Infinity War and Endgame did really well, even though they were working with incomplete scripts.
They had an idea, though. I guess that's the thing, is that they at least weren't winging it. They had the idea, the storyline that they've been telling the entire time. You know what I'm saying?
In terms of Infinity War and Endgame, apparently they did a lot of reshoots and improv. That the Russo brothers are comfortable with improv. Like, they don't mind doing that. But in terms of the Duffer Brothers, it seems they did not do that, or it didn't work out for them either. Well, way.
It's okay, but I will say again, I don't mean to defend the MCU here. I've thrown my fair share of hate towards what it became. We knew it was going to be Thanos since the first Thor, which was 2011. Like, that's what I'm saying, is like there was a semblance of a plan. This felt like there just wasn't. This felt like they had an idea, they ran 3 seasons on it, they ran out of ideas. I don't know. It's very frustrating, is what I'll say. It is very frustrating.
It concepts of a plan is what Emily said.
Concepts of a plan. I think that's perfect.
I think, but they thought it was crazy to leave Demogorgons. Did you get to that part? Yes.
No. We got talking about everything else.
It came back to and I was like, I remember a post that said that.
Another piece of information that came out outside. I don't think this was in the Netflix documentary about season 5, but according to multiple sources, there were writers on set that thought it was insane that they didn't bring back the Demogorgons or Demobats, and the Duffer Brothers just didn't care. They just said, whatever, we're not doing it.
Because they were in like their homeland or home world in the finale. And it's like, wait,
where are they?
In this where they all came from?
Yeah, where are they? And well, it's funny too. Have you seen the last shot of season 4 and the first shot of season 5?
I'm not.
The last shot of season 4, if I remember,
it wasn't it like Armageddon and the whole
like
earth cracking open and just awful, and then 5 it covered it up.
Yeah, it looks like there's about to be this giant war between Earth and the Upside Down with Vecna coming up and like there being a whole battle or whatever. And then the first shot of season 5 is just this beautiful Earth. And it's like, la, 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 like the world's back to normal. And so it's just like, what are we doing here? Like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, I can understand why people would totally say the ending was season 3. But the last real or fake we have, in the latest Actors Roundtable by The Hollywood Reporter, Mark Hamill revealed that he asked J.J. Abrams why Luke, Leia, and Han never reunited in the sequel trilogy, stating, quote, I said, aren't we going to have a moment where all 3 of us get together to raise the roof? It'll only take 30 seconds. And J.J. said, well, Mark, it's not Luke's story anymore. Case in point, when you have creators who do not understand their own material. You know what's crazy about that? The ending, the last film of this guy's own trilogy is The Rise of Skywalker. I understand it's meant to be Rey. Like, that is not lost on me.
Mm-hmm.
But who gave Rey the name?
Yeah.
If it's not his story, then why is he so impactful to it? You know what I'm saying? You could argue the whole thing's been Skywalker. It's always been Luke. It's always been the Skywalkers. And now you're saying it's not Luke's story anymore because you want to justify not having one reunion between the 3 central characters that have been running this ship since the beginning? I digress.
I think it would. I don't like how it panned out, and I don't like the idea. I feel it's cheesy to have the reunion. It's a tad fan service. It's a tad like, oh, they have to reunite, you know,
But
like and it's gonna be brother and sister gonna hug, and then Han's gonna be like, missed you, champ, and you know, just like, you know, it's like, oh man, you look like shit.
Yeah.
You know, like, but and then it's like, let's go get those bad guys or whatever, and then they're gonna see Luke get absolutely demolished. What? I guess,
well,
right?
he doesn't. He forced ghosts himself to death.
Yeah, which they wouldn't have known. I don't know how they would have written that. Which
they don't
was
explain
dumb.
it. Don't worry, they don't explain it. And I think Mark Hamill himself said, wouldn't Yoda or Obi-Wan have warned you that you could, like Luke especially, that you could OD on the Force? And they just didn't. Yeah, I think
The problem is I know it's Legends, but that would never happen.
No,
He wouldn't OD on the. Are you
That's what I'm
shitting me?
saying. He just misunderstands the character. Luke wouldn't die from that.
No, nor do I think. I don't think that what he did was possible to begin with, but even saying
Force
it was
projection, whatever. Like, if force projection, I think that we've seen it before in Legends. I don't really care about the semantics of force projection. I'm more angry at going back to the story. It is just. Yes, it's fan service. I go back to George Lucas. What did he say Star Wars was? Who did he say Star Wars was for? With me now, everybody.
Kids.
With me.
Is it kids?
It's for kids. I understand. It's okay to have some corniness. It's okay. Like, go back and look at any of the original trilogy. The whole thing's cornball. Like, that's the point, though. Like, it's cool. It's so magnificent.
Well, back in the 80s.
Well,
in the
it's
70s,
a whole
I
thing
guess,
on Nom. You know, like, that's the whole point. It's a play on
it's
Nom.
Imperialism.
Right. But, like, I digress. I think it was probably corny, a little corny back in the day. It's going to be corny tomorrow, however you look at it. But it's supposed to be cool. You know what I mean? And I think that there's a big part of the fan base, including, I honestly wouldn't have mind seeing it. That'd be like, oh, yeah, finally. Like Leia got to see her brother one last time, the brother that self-secluded and self-isolated because of the guilt and shame he felt for failing. I could totally understand. Like, if there was
secondarily, which is out of character.
It is out of character. You know what though? Like, if there was a whole turnaround with it, if there was Luke becoming Luke again, I would have said, you know what, valid, because Luke had never felt failure like that before. So Luke, the Luke that I feel like I know, could have gone into isolation to better himself. To be like, you know, like, I don't deserve to look these great people in the eye because I turned my own nephew into a dark force user, into a Knight of Ren. I'm going to go and self-isolate, and I'm going to ask the Force. I'm going to get in touch with the Force. I'm going to talk to Obi-Wan. I'm going to talk to Yoda, and I'm going to figure out what's happened. and I'm going to figure out what is the best source. But to cut yourself off from the Force, to turn your back on everything you've ever known, that's not like Luke. So yeah, I agree, but I do think that there's a realm where that could happen, but not in that capacity. And so if you turn it around and all of a sudden at the end of that storyline where Luke, he has some self-discovery because he's constantly in touch with the Force and he's trying to figure out what the best step is. What do I do? What do I do? How do I repent for this awful sin that I have committed on accident? How do I make up to my brother or my brother-in-law, my sister and my nephew? And then he comes back and then it's like Leia's like, I haven't seen you in so long. Like, it's not your fault. She the whole time, Leia's like, it wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. She gets to have that moment. Han, who loved the kid like a brother, is like, it's not your fault. He dealing with his own like trauma and his own guilt, right? Of not being there for his son. To be like, that whole moment would have been magic, right? That would have been everything Star Wars is and ever was. But we were robbed.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my 2 cents. I have nothing else. Nothing else interests me.
Hope
Anything
you guys are happy. You set Ryan off.
It's not hard
your
to
fault.
do. Yeah, it's a hand on shoulder. It wasn't your fault.
It wasn't your fault.
It's the easy thing to do.
Now he's gonna go self-isolate and
Yeah, I'm gonna go cry. Actually, no. So we both froze for like a solid second and jumped all over the place. This has been a hectic episode. A lot's been going on. Thank you for joining us. This was our second episode in 2026. We've got a lot more planned for you guys. A lot of fun things coming up down the pike, as always. Again, Oscar season's right around the corner, and we cannot wait to give you who we think's going to win what. Thank you guys for being here. As always, like, subscribe, comment, do the whole thing. Share with your mom, share with whoever, and we will see you guys next week. Goodbye.